Uh, hey Miss Yam, this is vlog 3.6 for AP seminar, and yeah, let's get to it. So today, I wanted to talk about like first the Dead Poet Society movie, right? So I really like the movie. To be honest, I mean, just loved everything about it. I like Robin Williams as an actor. I liked the Night at the Museum, Mrs. Doubtfire, all those movies. I loved it. So, yeah, Dead Poet Society. I think I see why you chose it, cause like all of these sources the from the stimulus packet all had to do some degree with courage and everything. So it kind of makes sense. The kids standing up, some to their father, some to Mr. Nolan. I feel really sad for Neil because he wants to live his dream, but he's rather stuck living his father's dream. Because I hate it when parents say that. I'm not saying that it like my parents do that. My parents don't. I love my parents, and I think the part where it was like I didn't have this, so I'm trying to give you the best of everything. That was like so shallow. Cause just because you didn't have it, you're trying to give your kid. That makes sense, but you're not gonna just force them to do something that they don't have a will in. It's like you're raising a bunch of robots. How's that fun? And like not having them have a say in their future, like how the father just had it predetermined that Neil was going to be a doctor and he's going to go to Harvard and whatever. And then while Neil was just wanted to act, and I felt that was just terrible of him, terrible parenting. And ultimately when Neil just offed himself, I feel like that like suicide is never the option, but given his circumstances, I feel like it's understandable why he felt that was the only way out. Same with when the guy was got spanked by Mr. Nolan. I mean that was like obviously that brought a lot of memories back, but I felt like chastisement, like physically chastising, is never okay, never an option. That should never even be considered at any point. I feel like words itself can do a lot of damage, but you can just it's difficult because if disobedience occurs, like seriously disobedience, and I feel like you can give detentions in school suspensions and all that, but it should just be at that. It shouldn't go any further than that. So yeah, talking about the sources now. For the first source, right, where it was the army general talking about uh like intelligent disobedience, cultural disobedience, moral disobedience, and all the different types of disobediences there is in the world. There isn't really much to talk about that one because all he does is just keeps yapping about uh like different types of obediences, different examples. I found it really cool of an intelligent disobedience is when the Nuremberg trials were mentioned, and where a Schutzstaffel officer, SS officer, was questioned. His name was Adolf Eichmann, and basically the whole trial was basically that uh, Eichmann claimed that he was just following orders, and by saying that he kind of assumed that he didn't bear any responsibility because Eichmann was the one who arranged the logistics of the Holocaust, like putting him into trains, shipping him off to Auschwitz and the other camps. So uh, that one was an interesting one because I felt like just because you were following orders doesn't mean that whatever you do is just justified. Because it doesn't mean so like if your army officer tells you to do something illegal, you have to think for yourself. No one's gonna do the thinking for you, and it's really important for you to judge yourself based on your gut feeling, like what you should do and what you should not do. There's nothing much to talk about it really. One thing that there is something to talk about is the Simone Biles one because as an athlete myself, I think I relate to it to a certain degree. So yeah, the Simone Biles one. I have so much notes in this one, and I feel like I talked the most on this article. Like I think I mentioned this because the United States, right, in sports we have such high standards in any sport, whether it's the basketball, swimming, gymnastics, especially. It's just anything less than a gold medal is just a failure, and it goes for all the couch potatoes in the country, and including me, and sometimes saying that, you know, like when in the Olympics, when in swimming, when the USA got second in relay, we believe that we should have gotten first, and you're like, oh, like what the hell, who put the relay? You start blaming people. Athletes have bad days. I have bad days. Some of us also have the case of the yips that happen sometimes. You periodically just fall out of form, and that's totally normal. It's okay to have those days, and eventually you bounce back from it. But I feel like to penalize someone like that, to start calling names, to start basically shitting on them just because they had a bad performance is terrible. And I feel like this goes very much back to Simone Biles. When I was very much active when I saw that news back in 2021 for the Olympics, and when I saw the news that Simone Biles had, took herself out of her events as well as the team events, it was a bit of a shocker. Like, whoa, why did she do that? Is she alright? Is she thinking straight and all that? Um, and I'm gonna be fair. I had my fair share of criticisms I had said about Biles, but as you as you continue in your athletic life, I feel like you start to realize their pain, or you start to some degree even feel their pain. When I have a bad performance, it's me who's my greatest critic. Coach is gonna talk a little bit here and there. Yeah, dad's gonna talk, but it's mainly me who's my greatest critic. I have goals written down, and if I don't meet my goals, to me it's a failure. If I was a tenth off, if I was a hundredth off, doesn't matter. If it does not meet my time, it's a failure, in my eyes. And and there's so much that goes into it. It's not just about sports, the whole Larry Nasser thing, but with sexual harassment in the office, that was just weird, and that was just unprofessional on so many levels. So yeah, think about that. Like, you have mental struggles going on, you have some sexual stuff that's going on also in the locker room, which should not be. It should be a professional atmosphere. So I feel like for these athletes, the girls especially, it was a tough thing that they had to go through during that time. Let's see. Yeah, the social dilemma. That's another documentary that I watched. I think that's a pretty good documentary actually, because it's just the fact that social media. I do not like social media, but I'm still kind of addicted to Instagram Reels, because sometimes they're just too damn funny. But the social dilemma, right, outlines that we're our generation has changed completely. I myself have tried, and I can live without my phone, but that's not the case for many people. It's just the algorithm is so dang good that it just keeps you hooked on for hours and hours, and whoever created it perfected it, and it's it's basically eating us away, and it's affecting athletes. It's how news spreads like wildfire now. So you can do something one instant, the next instance you're the guy who's being like thrown tomatoes at in the internet. So it's crazy how even your worst day can just become the most terrible day, because some people don't agree with what you just said. Some people think you had a bad performance, or some people think you're just not good enough, and you just can't let that go in your head. Um, and then yeah, but one thing I do want to talk about is how these girls came back from adversity, because although Simone they did lose Simone Biles from their the team thing, and she was like an integral part of their routine. When she was not there, they still managed to get a gold and silver. I think no, they still managed to get silver, and the only thing we focused on was that Biles got silver, and hence we got a gold. Hence we got a silver in an event that we were supposed to get a gold in, which to me is a complete BS, and that's all I have to say about that one, without letting any more of my bias get in the way. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about was Jacob Lawrence's painting. I don't know how the picture quality is in here because I didn't really look. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. I feel like the dog because we were going somewhere with it. It's funny how the dog takes up such little part of the space, basically to symbolize that they can try to act like they're like they like the cops and everything, who are trying to shut down the peaceful protest. Like they're trying to do something, but ultimately it's futile and it's insignificant to the greater cause that these people are fighting for. Um, and I did some research about Jacob Lawrence. He's painted the Great Migration of African Americans into New York earlier in the century, and he just has a reputation of creating paintings, works of art that moves people. I feel like when it was talking about the United States 200 year anniversary, right? I felt like that was so bull that they asked a person of color to paint something about freedom, whereas they were the ones that were being marginalized through all of time. I felt like that was just so shallow and rude. It's like disrespectful. It's like wagging a slice of pizza around a homeless person. Like you don't do that. That's probably like some logical fallacy I just committed, but it doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, it's just like messed up. It's the time where Frederick Douglass gave this speech, "What to the slave is the Fourth of July," where they asked him to talk about Fourth of July, but he was a slave. So I feel like this is the same logic that's going around here. Like someone a group of people who were basically treated as second class citizens, and then now you're just asking to talk about freedom, and then how America's so star spangled awesome, and uh, the hypocrisy and everything, the duality is just immeasurable. As for the Cobell article, timing was everything on it. When the lady turned off her oil pump, and then they just started knocking at her door, going ballistic, and then when she was going up and down for like 12, 15 years for the case, it was just tossed around. It goes back to the trailer of the movie you showed us, where it was the Martin Luther one. I don't know what it's called. I forgot what it's called, but it's the one where he goes to see the president. It's like you have one problem to deal with. I have 101 problems to deal with. Which one do you think is more important, right? It all goes back to that because it's all about priorities. What you really believe to be a priority, because like what happened with the civil rights movement, something was a serious priority, equal rights, liberty, the rights to votes and everything. It's something all people should have access to. And then when it was just taken away, that's your priority to get it back and to make some reform, not just for yourself but for the greater good. And when when priorities are aligned, not just in case of disobedience, but in just general about you know life. If you don't have your priorities straight, you're gonna be distracted, and then that's gonna cause other terrible things to happen. So I feel like the Eloise Cobell one spoke in a different level compared to the other three, but that's definitely one of my favorite ones. I would say my favorite one would probably be the Simone Biles one and the paintings as well as the Eloise Cobell. I'm just gonna try not to consider the first one as one because that's just not good. And I feel like that part was just I don't know. It was just so biased because an army general's writing about freedom, and then he's calling people out on activities that are not patriotic, like the guy who leaked the NSA guy who leaked the documents. That's a little bit that's understandable, but then again, it's like no, yeah, duh. But yeah. Sorry, this was a long one, and yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a good one.